Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel for a live reaction of the Chelsea 2, Liverpool 1 with a last-minute winner from Estevao William. Oh my God, the ecstasy, the scenes, the jubilation. I haven't felt like this for a Chelsea win in a hot minute. Like, obviously, we had the PSG game, but because we battered them, it kind of was different. Like, you kind of got used to the thought of, okay, we're actually winning this here as the game was going on. I felt like we hadn't, I know obviously we beat Liverpool last season, but it was different. They had obviously already won the league. This is why we're world champions and you're just champions of England, because we're fucking class. We don't even have centre-backs and we still beat you lot. Do you know what I mean? It's an absolute joke. We have an absolute centre-back injury crisis. We basically don't have any anymore, but somehow we win anyway. I am fucking buzzing. Caicedo scores maybe goal of the season, at least so far. Absolute wonder goal. Then we kind of bottle it a little bit with injuries and everything else because he equalised in Estevao in the last second of the game. Assisted by Cucurella. Oh my God, Dimitar, thank you so very much for joining me. What a wonderful occasion. What a wonderful Saturday evening it was, wasn't it?
Yep, absolutely. I thought we played very well for almost the entire game. Apart from that 20-minute period, maybe after they equalized, I thought it was a very good performance and happy to be here.
Yeah, very good, mate. It was a very good performance. I mean, I don't even know where to start, if I'm being honest. Like, the lineup, there was maybe some questions in it. We'll get into that in a second. I'll just try to react to a couple of things that the people have said in the chat. Obviously, some of them starting from well before we started actually being live. Played them off the park. What a monster of a performance, man. This has to kickstart our season now. Big up, Laurenz. Did we actually beat Liverpool? Yes, we did. Luckily, the coach held the red, not the players today. He took one for the team. I love it. Big up, Maresca. Do you know what I mean? Estevao, the next time you see someone compare Gravenberch to Caicedo, laugh at their face. Well, I was already doing that last season. I can't even lie. Caicedo and Cucurella, unbelievable every game. They literally are. Words of appreciation for both Enzos. Enzo Fernandez was so good today. That's what we want to see from him. Imagine if we had Palmer fit, mate. Imagine. Bro, Konate is actually good. Yeah, well, certainly better than Gittins, that's for sure. We won without a known centre-back on the pitch. We actually did. I mean, you can maybe make a case for Hato being an actual centre-back, but oh my God. Sorry I was late, guys. You know, last-minute winner, thumbnail change, title change, you know, things take time. JC says, what a game. Up the Chelsea. Laurenz, Estevao. Yeah, still can't finish a game without a red, though. Nope, we can't. I don't even know what he got a red for. Is he not allowed to run down the pitch and celebrating? What a stupid rule. It's like taking your shirt off. Let a man take his shirt off.
That was the second yellow, I believe. That was a second.
Yeah, no, he did get booked earlier, didn't he? Yeah, exactly. People wanted Maresca sacked, mate. Me and Dimitar were arguing with, I'm not sure if a lot of you will still know Aaron, but he's been only a couple of times. He was literally saying, if we lose badly today, Maresca has to go. And I was like, excuse me. Certainly not the conversation we're having now, is it? Certainly not the conversation we're having now. I mean, oh my God. Dimitar, let's talk about the lineup. Now, I'm just having it in base right now in terms of how it's, you know, moved around in possession. We'll get to in a minute. But what did you make of the lineup? Did anything particularly surprise you? Did anything, well, let me say, disappoint you? What were your thoughts on the lineup?
Disappointed, surely not. Surprised that Acheampong got a start. And maybe once we saw how the team actually set up, I was surprised that it was Gusto in the middle and not Reece James. But disappointed, surely not. I mean, I think this is probably the best we had in terms of injuries.
Oh, you could have started Estevao, of course.
Yeah, I mean, we also spoke about that a little bit in the chat, but technically, if you start Estevao, I think that we have no aces up our sleeve while the game is on. And I think this is exactly what I wrote in the chat. Like, it would be much better to put Estevao on when the game is 0-0, 1-1, or 2-2, because then he can actually do something. And I think this is kind of also normal because he's 18 and he has no Premier League experience. Like, and some people I've seen also
online, but he's still our best player every time he plays, though.
Yes, but like, it's still not Saka, who had 2 or 3 years of coming on as a sub in the Premier League as an experience before he started deciding games as an 18, 19-year-old.
I'm always unsure where I stand on it, because obviously you see Lamine Yamal doing it, right? And he was kind of doing it from the beginning, and we always say he's as good as him. But I agree with you in a way, but I think today should have started, because if today he didn't start, he should have started against Benfica. And the fact that he didn't start either makes no sense to me.
I mean, my argument would still be that the most players who do this, they are at least youth academy products of the team they start for. So if they're not used to the senior version of the league, at least they are used to the football pyramid of that country to the bare minimum.
Yeah, so, but then he should have started against Benfica.
No, this for sure. I mean, I have no idea why he didn't, but at least.
Well, that's why that's why I was surprised that he didn't start today, because my only logic for not starting against Benfica was, okay, he's starting against Liverpool. But who knows? I mean, yeah, it's interesting. Acheampong, to be honest, we didn't really have many other options. You could have done Hato, but then you would have had two left-footed centre-backs. So is that ideal? Maybe not. So I guess Acheampong and Badiashile was maybe the one to be most expected. But yes, Reece James and Gusto playing the way they did was, certainly a little bit of a surprise when the game started. But honestly, in my opinion, first of all, I think it worked out well. And secondly, I think it was smart. Like, it made sense in a way that Gusto struggles with defensive things. And defending the far post, and also Acheampong being obviously very young, having Reece James, obviously the captain, next to him will be more beneficial than having Gusto, who will have his own problems. While Gusto would and did provide legs in midfield that maybe Reece James couldn't. So in the end, it all worked out. Obviously, we'll get to the forced injury substitutions that we, like I say, were forced to make later in the game. But yeah, the lineup was what it was. For me, the surprise was Estevao not being in the team. But here we are. It worked out, so I'm not going to be flipping complaining, am I? Absolutely not. Now, let me bring up FOTMob for a second here. And let's just look at an overall picture before we look at details and speak about details. Now, supposedly, Liverpool had significantly more XG than we did. I'm not really sure how that's happened, if I'm being totally honest. Would you have guessed?
Probably not to that extent, but considering the XG of Caicedo's goal was like 0.03 or something, I mean, it's not that surprising, to be honest.
Yeah. That's always like shot. Was that really not more central than that? Oh, no, it was blocked by Badiashile. That one was that. Yeah, it's true. They did have that. It's weird because, like one of the comments in the chat said earlier, I felt like we, for the most part, played them off the park. But we didn't really have that many big chances. Like, obviously, we scored an absolute worldie through Caicedo, and we had a lot of moments where if someone got on the end of a cutback or a cross, we would have had huge chances. We played our way through to that position nicely, but we didn't actually have that many shots and like dangerous shots. Like, in the end, we had 6 shots on target. I'm not sure when they all happened, but it felt like we didn't have a multitude of real chances, if I'm being honest. There was periods, but there was also long periods where Caicedo's chance was the only real thing we did. But overall, still more possession. Obviously, in expected goals, we just touched on it. 1 less shots, but more shots on target. Compared to that, just 2. Which is like, how can you have 1.93 XG with 2 shots on target? Tell me that. Do you know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. They had 3 big chances, supposedly. We had 2. So you will take that. We had more XG from set play, and honestly, neither team was doing anything from that perspective. But we need to just talk about it. Let's not beat around the bush anymore. Obviously, there was one of the first things that happened in the game. Moises Caicedo, the line-breaking pass for Benoit Badiashile, the little 1-2 with Malo Gusto, and then he just hits it. 25 yards? Unbelievable. What a goal, wasn't it? What a goal it was, Dimitar. Just talk to me about it. How good is this guy, man?
The thing is, for me, it was spoiled by the chat, sadly, so I couldn't enjoy it fully. But yeah, this is exactly what you want your midfielders to do. Just like, not every game, but let's say once every 5 or 6 games, you just want them to explode on the pitch and just give you an advantage out of nothing. Because even though we were playing better, I believe even up until the 20th minute, we did still not create almost any chances, which is, I think, a general theme for us. And also, this is why we have this low XG, I believe, because we don't create a lot of clear-cut chances. And this was like it came out of nowhere. It completely opened the game, and I think it also gave us confidence, because the 20 minutes after that, I believe we were absolutely playing them off the park. They did not know what was going on up until the end of that first half, I believe. And maybe only in the second half did they start to kind of take control of the game in certain phases. But for the first half, I think probably our best Premier League performance of the calendar year, maybe. Because I sure as hell don't remember a lot of dominant performances in the end of last season, at least in games that mattered to the opposition as well, because we beat Liverpool, but they were already champions. So you kind of want to not count that in. But yeah, I mean, very dominant performance, great midfield play. We completely nullified them, and yeah, the Caicedo just exploded. I mean,
What's a goal?
I don't know what else to say, really.
The fact that he's starting to add more and more worldies to his catalogue, like how many more worldies is he going to score? It's unbelievable. But yeah, no, like you say, the second half certainly shifted a little bit. I'll get to that, or we'll get to that in a bit more detail in a minute. Obviously, a lot of it to do with our injuries. Let me get through a couple more of the comments. JC says, also Wirtz came on in the second half, showed his class for 20 seconds, then disappeared. What a first touch it was in the game. Arguably, Salah should have equalised after 20 seconds. I'm just going to call you proud. Finally, we have defeated Liverpool and ended the curse. I mean, thankfully, but we did actually beat them literally 3 months ago or 4 months ago or something. But yeah, I still get the point. In terms of Liverpool, we can maybe talk about that a little bit later on. Should we have had a penalty for the Garnacho one? Should we not? Difficult to judge. Couture Criminal says, Laurenz, anyone playing us in an open game is suicide. We are deadly. Do we need to give the sporting directors credit after Maresca made the triple sub of players signed by the sporting directors?
No,
I mean,
no.
I don't know if that's how it works. but there you go. Max says having two sixes made a difference. Yeah, it sure did. It sure did. Towards the end, Lavia was fucking brilliant, by the way, off the bench. Lavia was fucking brilliant. That was really good. Karan said it was good to see the pivot interchange passes quickly and move forward. This win with Chelsea will give Chelsea a lot of confidence. Karan, Danny Murphy as well. Okay, in terms of the Carragher stuff. People need to put respect on Enzo Fernandez's name. What a player. I thought he was good, but I'm not really sure if I'm that over the moon necessarily with him today. Because we scored at the end, yes, but otherwise I'd be sitting here crucifying him for not scoring the winner.
He actually missed two chances this game. He had two chances where maybe he should not score them every time, but maybe one of the two should have.
What was the other one? Obviously, the late one where he hit the post.
And towards the end of the first half, I think he kind of didn't hit the ball correctly, and it just went a bit sideways. Where I feel he could have done a bit better.
But you're not talking about the one that nearly was an own goal, are you? By Liverpool. That wasn't.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, that one, yeah, that one, yeah.
I mean, maybe. I just can't remember. I'm not saying there wasn't another Enzo one either, though.
No. I mean, he could have done a bit better. Of course, like I said, you can't say a player should always score these ones, but maybe once in a while. And Enzo can score them. He has shown that he can arrive late in the box and end up at the end of those crosses and just convert them. So, yeah,
exactly. No, absolutely. April says Gittins needs to improve his touch. Gittins needs to improve a lot of things. That's what I'm saying. Carragher probably crying himself to bed today. F him. I hope someone destroys his agenda against Chelsea. Honestly, sometimes he speaks facts, but he still definitely doesn't like us, though, does he? We had territory, but no decisive pass into the final third. Well, it depends on what you define as decisive, because we certainly had played our way through nicely at the edge of the boxes, like in terms of on the side, on the edge, or on the on the front of the edge of the box, but then didn't get the ball into the middle, coming to the man. A natural striker like Delap would have feasted today, maybe, but I feel like it's like with the Nkunku situation. Let's not pretend Liam Delap will fix every issue we ever had. I mean, Gusto is a real weird player because he brings so much on the one hand in terms of physicality, in terms of legs, in terms of intensity, in terms of, in principle, technical quality, in terms of how he can control a ball, how he can quickly touch a ball around people. But then there's such a lack of quality in certain other moments where you're just he's such a strange player that's so good at certain things, and then has such clear gaps in his abilities. It's kind of wild for me.
He looks like someone who would score 20 goals a season on the right wing at PSG. For me, at least, or score or assist. Because in the final third, he's a menace. In our third, he's also a menace.
Yeah. Yes, he absolutely is a menace. Well, he's a menace just for bloody everybody. Now, if I scroll up all the way here, I'm expecting to find a couple of nice Estevao pictures of his celebration. Not as quickly as I thought. Let's use this one. Let's talk about this. We'll get through the details of the game and how else it developed and what else happened in the injuries. Let's just get the hype moments out the way, I would say. My God, the win. It was nicely played as well, the way Enzo fed it through to Cucurella. Cucurella just onside, like you said earlier. You even thought it was offside initially. The cut across, it's not an easy finish either. On the slide, on his weak foot, make sure he gets it in. The ecstasy, what that will do for not only his confidence, but the whole team going into this international break now. Hopefully having injuries coming back, injured players coming back to the team after the international break. Oh my God, it couldn't have gone any better, could it? What a finish to the game, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, and this was probably our best executed attacking sequence in the opposition third for the entire game, because we like with 2 or 3 passes we managed to negate all of their midfield, all of their defense, and just like have someone in behind getting the ball, which is what I would expect we would do more often, having signed Gittins, Garnacho, Estevao, and also having Pedro Neto in the team. This is something that we should do more often, but something that we sometimes struggle to do. And I hope that we kind of work on that.
Absolutely. I mean, Estevao, what can you even say about him? I know you said earlier you understand maybe why Maresca didn't start him. Honestly, for me, it was still baffling, especially because he didn't start against Benfica. If he started against Benfica, I would have been okay. But still, I'm like, Garnacho, but obviously part of it was to do with the setup that Maresca went with today. We'll get into that a little bit more in a minute. And it was half the reason why we controlled Liverpool as well as we did, but it was also half the reason why we didn't have more clear-cut chances the way we approached.
Yeah, definitely.
So I guess, comes with pros and cons, but hey, if in the end it ends up with you getting 3 points and winning, you did everything correctly. Can't mow with that. But yeah, Estevao, what a triple sub it was at the end, right?
Yeah.
Like, Gittins coming on for Garnacho, Mark Yu making his first appearance of the season, coming on for João Pedro. I couldn't even believe that he was actually coming on. And obviously Estevao coming on for Pedro Neto as well. And then Estevao, it's just, I mean, he didn't even have the best game until that point. Like, there was a couple of times where he lost the ball where he shouldn't have, but obviously he could have arguably set up the winner like a couple of minutes before for Enzo Fernandez, like we touched on.
Yeah.
But I think it's just so evident that he's just a different level of quality than other players. Like, there's a couple of indications for that for me. One is when Enzo Maresca, I've seen a couple of like interviews that weren't just press conferences, like TV interviews and stuff that happen on media days, etc. When he was essentially asked about like even like the chaos and freedom, and then when he asks, like, when he answers a question like who do you try to give the most freedom, who are your players to decide a game and change a game, he always mentions Palmer, and then the second person he mentions is Estevao. He doesn't mention João Pedro. He doesn't mention Pedro Neto. He doesn't mention Garnacho or Gittins. He mentions Estevao as the second and the only other name that he mentions after Cole Palmer. And then on top of that, I swear Neto wasn't doubled up on by Liverpool a single time this game. Estevao came on, touched the ball for the first time. They were there with 2 in front of him. I couldn't believe my eyes. I was like, you didn't double up on Garnacho once. You didn't double up on Neto once. As soon as Neto is there, you're doubling up on him? This is mental. This is absolutely mental. What a player. I mean, honestly, on the one hand, I'm obviously very happy that we're taking it slow with him and not starting him every single game and whatever. But in terms of what you said, in terms of the ready for the Premier League, don't forget he did start against United. He just had to come off again after 5 minutes.
I know.
It's not like Maresca hasn't shown the faith already that he can do it. So I was still surprised by it today, but I'm just, as much as I criticize a lot of what this ownership do and a lot of what type of players we sign and stuff, but my God, am I glad that they found this guy. Do you know what I mean? My God, am I glad that when he was only 16, we were like, yeah, let's pay 60 million for this guy. Because right now you're not getting him for 60 million. That's for damn sure, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, you are right. And the thing with these young players is I think it's better really to bet them in slowly. Because first of all, you don't want to pressure his body because he's still growing into it. And second of all, it is the Premier League. And especially if the team is not performing to the best of its capabilities, with or without him, it's not the best atmosphere to develop yourself in. Like, I mean, also, if the team is constantly losing, going off the bench is also not the best option for a young lad. But still, I mean, let's see what he can do. And if he's not shown he's probably the best manager in the world, Maresca, to me, he's shown he can actually work with young players better than what I would have expected from him. Because generally he's a young coach, not very experienced, but he seems to be working better with young players than at least I would have expected. So I guess I would trust him with the development plan for Estevao, I would say.
I mean, I would hope I can trust him. I would hope I can trust him with it. I'm just excited for it. It's when you're always caught in this middle ground, right? Where it's like, you want to play them, you don't want to overdo it, you don't want to ruin them, but you don't want to ruin them by not giving them enough time, and then almost like the hype fading, and then the kind of like JC says, you don't want another Ansu Fati, right? That's the bad side, obviously. But obviously, an Ansu Fati can happen even if you don't overplay him, if he just gets a bad injury, like Ansu Fati did, right? Not just as simple as overplaying it, but there you go. I mean, what a moment. What a win. What a goal from Estevao as well. Joe says, hi, guys. I haven't been that emotional for a win since the 4-3 against United on the potch. What a win. I mean, no, I definitely was for the Club World Cup. But like I said earlier, it was, like I say, it was so clear that it was felt different because it wasn't this one moment of elation, like obviously today.
Although for the second goal against PSG, I was pretty buzzing. I mean,
of course. Because
by the second goal, we were seeing where this is going. It was like, yeah, we have maybe 50 more minutes of this, but we're gonna win this game. This was the vibe. So, but yeah, you are true. It was a special win.
Yeah, it was such a special win, man. It was absolutely crazy, actually. Why did I not highlight this? Let me quickly highlight this, bring this back up again. Now, let's talk about quickly. We'll talk about a couple of other good performances. And obviously, other than maybe João Pedro and maybe Sanchez, there wasn't anyone I would say that wasn't good. Even that includes Gusto for me. Maybe not as good as others, but, in the grand scheme of things, everybody was good. But very early in the second half, Badiashile goes on a run as Liverpool are trying to counter-attack. He's trying to follow Salah. Initially keeps up, and I was like almost impressed. And then after we clear it for a throw-in or corner, whatever it was, all of a sudden Badiashile's on the floor. And it's the very same hamstring that he also was injured with against Benfica in the Club World Cup. And it's just starting to get real bad. Like, he had just been out for 3 months with hamstring injury. But also, this injury, honestly, if he would want to, he could probably sue and win, bring back match ratings, yeah? Okay, Ricky, fair enough. But they take so long, bro. That's the problem. That's the problem. Excuse me. That's the problem with not replacing Colwell. That meant because we had all these other centre-back issues, where Chalobah was suspended for today, Fofana was out with the concussion that he suffered against Brentford? I can't even remember who it was.
Yeah, Brentford.
But against someone. And that meant that Badiashile had to start against Benfica and had to start today. Now, sure, could you have started Hato? Yeah, you could have done. But, that's a left-back playing. Acheampong is half a right-back playing. He's also 18, 19, the same for Hato. So I get why Maresca went for it. But still, we saw the consequences of it. And then what subs did we make? We brought on Romeo Lavia for Big Benoit Badiashile, which was kind of crazy, if we're being totally honest. And then we shifted things around a little bit, of course. Josh Acheampong went to right centre-back. Reece James went to... Acheampong went to left centre-back. Reece James went to right centre-back. Gusto went to right-back. And Lavia formed a double pivot with Caicedo. So we didn't really change things. But just to elaborate on it maybe a little bit, well, sometimes the left, sometimes on the right, but we essentially created one of these. Initially with Reece James, partly... it was maybe more of a 4, like a 2-4-4 almost. But just the fullbacks doing fullback things, but obviously sometimes coming inside like they do. But this was essentially the setup. And because João Pedro came so deep so much, this is why we didn't really get the ball into the final chance having position so much. But this is why we controlled the game a little bit better, because we just had
definitely
more players in the important areas. But yeah, these were the subs that we made. Now, your reaction, Dimitar, to first of all Lavia coming on for Badiashile, and then Reece James going to centre back and Gusto going to right back. Obviously, before then the Acheampong sub had to happen, and a few minutes later, I'll change that up on screen in a minute. Obviously, Gusto and Reece James, the combination of the two is kind of why we conceded the equaliser in the meantime. Obviously, across from I think Salah to Isak with that little touch around the corner, and then Gakpo just gets away from Malo Gusto. Now Reece James. Honestly, I'm not even sure how much criticism I want to give him. It was just really well done by Isak. But obviously, does Badiashile or say Colwell, do they handle it a bit better in that situation against Isak? Do they end up being so behind him and kind of shielded from the ball the way Reece was? Maybe not. And then goes to obviously losing his man. We saw it in the chat. Neji was saying like, you should have brought on Hato straight away. Obviously, Hato came on 10 minutes later anyway. But was that in that moment for you a wrong decision for the way he made it, bringing Lavia on and moving Reece James to centre back, or would you have supported that decision? How do you feel about that, mate?
No, well, I actually think this is the right decision. And the second I saw Badiashile injured, I thought this is what I would do, and I was a bit confused still because the commentator of my game theory crafted that probably Caicedo will go right back, and we're gonna play with Lavia and Gusto Reece James in the center. And when I saw the actual setup which you now brought, I was kind of pleased because this is what I would have expected and would have wanted. And as far as on the issue, should Jorel had to come on? I don't think so. He's too young, and we're so inexperienced anyway. I think moving James at the center back position is the correct decision. And I'm also not sure I would blame him or Gusto for that goal, because Isak that touch from Isak was, I mean, it was magical. Not to be overly dramatic, but I'm pretty sure out of 10 times he does that only once. Like it was really exactly what you should do in that exact moment, to just calm the ball down, slow it so the striker or the attacker can just attack it and score it in the net. So I think it was just a bit of magic from Isak and Liverpool in general, because even though they didn't play great, they kind of looked like they deserved a goal in the second half. I mean, I'm not going to say they deserved to win. Maybe a draw would also have been fair, because they did play well in the second half. I'm going to give them that. But still,
after half our team fell apart and we didn't have any centre-backs on the pitch.
Yeah, I know, obviously. But still, I mean, even in the first 20 minutes, they showed intent. And this is something which you have to respect them for. They showed intent. Like the first 20 minutes of the second half, they wanted to turn the game around. And obviously, they only did it when we were forced to make subs. But still, like, it's nothing.
I mean, you'd expect it from them. They didn't win the league for nothing last season. But obviously now 3 losses in a row for them. That's surprising. But there you go. I want to talk about an individual. And it's actually Alejandro Garnacho. Now, you and me, Dimitar, but also the majority of us, just Chelsea fans, were not exactly wanting us to sign Garnacho. But I was very clear from the get-go that once he would be here, I would support him. And once he would be here, I would also try not to hang his United issues over him, because I'm like, now that he's here, I'm only going to judge him by if he has off-pitch issues with us, then I'm going to be very critical. But until he does, so while he doesn't, there's for me nothing to criticize for at the moment. And it's the same with with Sancho last year, where I was like, if he has issues, if we're here that he's too lazy, if we're here he's being late, whatever, then I'm going to be critical. But that wasn't the case for Sancho. If anything, he seemed like the perfect professional last season until he refused that contract offer. And obviously, we're not that far in with Garnacho at all. But just his performance today, honestly, I was actually very happy. I was very, very happy with that performance. Yeah. And before I let you speak about it, what you thought about him, my big takeaway for me is I am so glad that we finally have a player that's good at timing runs. Because I'm not sure if you paid attention to it, but I paid a lot of attention to when Garnacho was making runs, whether he was then fed or whether he wasn't in the end found. The amount of perfectly, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, but for me it felt perfectly timed runs is unbelievable. And honestly, we haven't had a winger do that maybe since Pedro. You know what I mean? Because like usually Pulisic had a knack for it, but I felt like not always, but Pulisic did have a knack for a good run. But this is what I was most impressed by with Garnacho. Like, he was such an outlet today in terms of he was always making a run. He was always keeping that width, making sure whether it was Bradley in the first half or Szoboszlai in the second half, where being stretched, he was running in behind, he was taking his man on, he was trying to get the ball across, he was trying to do things. He hit the post as well. After a lovely, lovely corner routine, he just touched the outside of the post. I thought he was really good. Obviously, it was off by the time he scored the winner, but I thought he was really good. He worked hard defensively, and he was such an outlet. And what I'm really happy with, he's technically very secure. Like, you don't see a bad touch from Garnacho. Gittins, every third touch, bad touch. Garnacho doesn't have a bad touch at the moment. And like, again, he's not perfect, and he has his issues, and he fell down a bit easily. I think I respect him for trying to win a penalty there, but I think you can give a penalty, but I think it's fair enough to not give it, if that makes sense. But yeah, I was quite happy with Garnacho today, for being honest. What did you make of him? Would you go as far as saying you were quite happy, or was it just okay for you? Where would you stand on it?
Well, I mean, first of all, you're completely right. He timed those runs perfectly, and that was kind of the game plan. And it's refreshing to see the manager actually, for once, having the players maybe he wants to execute a certain game plan, because I feel like most of the times, even when we win games, the manager doesn't have the tools he needs to execute his plans. And I think, he did everything nice. He was also relatively disciplined in defense as well, as much as you could expect from Garnacho. So, I think it was fine. He probably deserved to get something today, either a goal or assist. But I think overall his performance was good, and I am excited to see him maybe start a bit more games. Especially, what would be nice is to see him and Palmer on the pitch at the same time, because like you said, we have a player who can time runs now, and Palmer is a player with magical passes. So maybe once in a while we can get these counter-attack or transition goals, which we certainly lack, I think, at least this season, if not the entire calendar year, because even at the back end of last season, Jackson was absolutely off form. We could not do any transition goals. Palmer was extremely shaky from open play, and Noni was Noni. So basically, the entire back end of last year, we only had Pedro Neto as an attacking threat on the transition, and now maybe we have options on the other flank, which I think is better than maybe what we would have expected in the summer from Garnacho. But let's see. Hopefully, he can show a bit more as well.
Exactly. But just to run through his stats, obviously 20 out of 21 passes is good. Doesn't always tell you the full story because obviously sometimes just kept it safe, but still hit the woodwork like we touched on. 34 touches, very much involved, 4 in the box, 2 out of 4 dribbles, you'll take it. 0 of 2 crosses, okay, obviously could be nicer, but still, not much in terms of defensive attributes, in terms of tackles, 1, recoveries, 1, but it's something. 5 out of 8 ground duels, you'll take it. I think he did a good job. Honestly, I think he did a good job. Go on.
Yeah, I mean, what I also want to say is in this formation specifically, Neto had a lot more defensive responsibilities. So Garnacho was always left a bit more further on the pitch. So he did not have the chance to make much more tackles and interceptions. And I think he had one of both. So this was still good enough, I believe. Definitely good enough.
There you go. I mean, on that note, we might as well talk about Neto. Maybe not necessarily the very best stats. You can also see certainly less touches than Garnacho had, only 14 passes compared to the 20. Although, to be fair, actual touches, it's just 1 less, which is interesting. 2 out of 2 dribbles, which is obviously nice. 0 out of 6 crosses, unfortunately. Quite a bit more involved defensively, not necessarily the big final numbers, but certainly making defensive runs and, covering areas. But 1 interception, 3 recoveries, still 2 out of 4 ground duels. Put a shift in, as he always does, put a shift in. Sometimes I wish if a player either he was just slightly better, or if players that are slightly better than him had that work rate that Neto has, it would be an unbelievable player. But he's very good. But sometimes I'm feeling like lacking that little something. Because there's very few negatives to talk about. Obviously, the centre-back injury crisis. We'll maybe touch on that a little bit more in just a minute in terms of how that affects us going forward. I want to quickly talk about João Pedro. And chat, please get involved in this as well, because I'm a little bit unsure about what I want to think about João Pedro, because obviously he had such a great start for us. He was so brilliant at the Club World Cup. He was so good, even in those 2 preseason friendlies that we had, and even in the first couple of games of the season. But for a while now, he's kind of not really been on it. He's often looked like a bit of a, foreign body to the team sometimes, or just not really making it happen when he does receive the ball, when he's supposed to do something with it. But obviously, we know he's not playing 100% fit. We know he's not being able to be rotated. Now he doesn't have Palmer. He kind of has to do a lot up front himself, especially in those games where we've had the red cards. But a game like today, I don't know. I just expected a little more from him. What did you make of João Pedro today? If there was anyone who I would say, that had a poor game in our team, I would say it's probably João Pedro.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. But also here, I have to be sympathetic because he's forced to do a lot more than he should. And I mean, not only playing extra minutes because we don't have other options, I also mean doing extra work. But the weird thing is that, today he was poor. Because normally, if him and Palmer play, they kind of want to occupy the same position in front of the enemy box. And today there was no Palmer. And there was also no other recognized player who would be a traditional 10. So you would think that João Pedro should be feasting on the half spaces, the spaces in front of the opposition box. He should be holding the ball. He should be playing short 1-2s with his teammates. But he didn't do any of that. And he was basically, you're right, he looked like a foreign body. He looked like he didn't know where to stand most of the time. And that's why when we made crosses, he was never at the end of them. When we tried to play intricately with 1-2s, he was also never in the middle of it. So he really looked off today. Maybe it's because of injury, maybe something else.
I think from Garnacho that came in the box, and he just didn't fully make the run to get it in. And I was like, oh man, how... Honestly, and I said this a couple of times already, I'm starting to feel like when we had Kai Havertz up front, Where it's like, yeah, obviously he's a good player technically and he can control the ball and this and that, but you're kind of caught in between. Are you physically good enough to be a striker, but are you physically too good to be like a agile and flexible number 10? You know, where exactly is your role going to be? Just doing a lot of running, which is, you know, sacrificing yourself for the team, but without much coming from that. Again, it's a bit harsh right now because obviously Maresca, I'm sure, would want to play him also with the lap in front of him of João Pedro, and sometimes, you know, rest him. Playing together with Palmer will also help and stuff. But at the moment, like I say, it's reminding me a little bit of when we had Kai Havertz up front for a while, where it's like Go on.
It is, yeah, because he's not a striker. And I think, I'm not sure if I said that in our chat or on one of your streams, I had the feeling from him, even after the game against PSG, I had the feeling he may score 6 or 7 worldies, but I never believed he would score 15 or 20 goals because he's just not a striker. He's a player who can play that. He can put in a shift. He can play as a 10. He can play as a striker, second striker. But the way we're using him, he's not that guy. And I also have the slight fear that the way which the striker we need is also not Delap. It was also not Jackson. And I don't understand what exactly
what type of striker do you think we need then?
I don't know, but just like all of them, I mean, okay, for Delap, we have not had a good enough sample size, but for Jackson, we had, and it was definitely Jackson sometimes looked great, sometimes looked very bad, sometimes looked confused. And Pedro is doing basically the same, but also without getting those clear-cut chances that Jackson would occasionally miss. So if Pedro's not the guy, if Jackson's not the guy, if also maybe Delap is not the guy, I mean, I'm not sure that also maybe Maresca knows what exactly he wants from a striker, because you can't honestly look the way we play with Pedro and tell me that this is how Maresca would want a striker to play. Like,
no,
I would not.
I don't think so either. I don't think so. I mean, Rolo says Osimhen, in my opinion. I mean, I have my own thoughts on players that go to Turkey in the peak of their career just because they refuse to take a slight wage cut. You know, make of that what you will. But obviously he's too old for our club to ever sign him.
Yeah,
I think Delap can work. Delap needs to slightly tidy himself up technically from his time at Ipswich, which is understandable when you're coming from a relegated team to Chelsea. Obviously, take a bit of time to like sort your, you know, small technical issues out, I suppose. But I think his size combined with pace, combined with usual finishing quality is quite what Maresca wants. But
maybe.
It depends on the type of game. Like in certain games like today, I think Delap would have been fucking amazing. But when we just play a simple low block, I'm also not sure if Delap is enough, because I just think you need this small space quality and this, you know, get the ball somehow, just poke it in, like the kind of dirty striker quality. And I haven't really seen that from Delap yet either, if I'm honest. But for a game like today, I think it would have been brilliant.
Maybe.
Yeah. But there you go. From a slightly negative perspective, obviously someone in the chat was absolutely buzzing about Enzo Fernandez. Let me see what the stats suggest. Obviously, 35 out of 44 passes, you'll take it. 1 or 2 shots on target, successful dribble, 0 out of 3, could have been better. 0 out of 2 crosses, could have been better. 2 out of 5 long balls is okay. 4 tackles, 6 recoveries, that's nice. Never dribble pass, which is also good. 4 out of 10 ground duels. On the edge of okay. But Cucurella, man. I mean, according to Fotmob Player of the Match, obviously, officially, Caicedo was awarded it. Was the most fouled player. He just does everything, man. He pockets Mo Salah. He sets up our 96th minute winner. He covers in midfield. He just does everything. The only one thing that Marco Cucurella isn't great at is chip over the top balls down the wing to his winger. Like, he had that same issue when Mudryk played in front of him. He never got them right. And there was also 1 or 2 occasions again for Garnacho today. Garnacho made a run. Cucu tries to chip it over and it just way off. Like, such an overhit pass. Like, there's only one thing he can do. He cannot do, because everything else he's fucking brilliant at. I mean, what's an unbelievable player. We also know, and I'm not sure if you heard this as well, but I heard it from Pys, that Cucurella, alongside Caicedo, alongside Enzo, as well as João Pedro, who we knew it about, are all not playing 100% fit. And what Cucurella is doing, not 100% fit, absolutely insane. Like, I know we've mentioned it many, many times, but I'm not sure if I've ever seen such a turnaround of a player at a football club. Like, he was so crucified and vilified and booed and abused at every touch by their own fans. to where we are now, it's bloody unbelievable.
Yeah.
And we haven't even got to Caicedo yet with this goal, but Cucurella is amazing, isn't he?
Yeah, but also I think you are correct completely. Probably the biggest turnaround also I can think of as well. But still, in the beginning, I think it was not deserved. I genuinely could not understand why people were so against him. Like, obviously, he didn't show almost anything that he was going to be so special for us. But still, I think some fans sometimes act like these footballers. It's like they killed their moms or something. I mean, like, I don't know. Sometimes the genuine hate for some of them is baffling. And even when they've done nothing, like, sometimes it is baffling for me. But yeah, great player, great servant to the club. I just hope we manage to keep him fit, because he is entering the prime of his career, 27, 28. So we should be keeping him fit and happy and at the club for as long as possible.
Let's just hope we don't sell him, because he's starting to get old. That's all I'm hoping for, man. Please don't sell him. For the love of all that's holy, do not sell Marc Cucurella.
I mean, well, thank God that Real Madrid and Barcelona are basically broke, so no one can afford him.
Yeah, well, and they have a good left back with Balde, but Real Madrid don't. Do you know what I mean? So, honestly, I'm surprised that they haven't come calling yet. So, but hey, that's why we give players long contracts. So, it is working out well for us, isn't it? In terms of Varna saying Cucurella is the best left back in the world, obviously, there is also the shout of Nuno Mendes, who's fucking brilliant. Obviously, a very different type of left back, but it's certainly between those two. And I don't think anybody else really is in for a shout, if I'm being honest. I'm not sure if I'm remembering the news correctly now, Ricky. I think the report was that an agreement has been found, but I don't think it has been officially announced or signed yet. But I think a couple of weeks ago, it was said that he signed the contract extension. Cucurella, that is.
I also think he did, if I remember correctly.
But like I say, I'm not sure if it was officially announced and he signed it or what. But overall, very, very happy. Now, I want to quickly talk about him. Obviously, we talked about the injury, but Badiashile, and what makes it so sad is that he was fucking good until he got injured. He was so good. Like, his passing was brilliant. His defending was brilliant. That block basically on the line that he had, how he was shimmying off Isak, absolutely no problem. Like, he was so good. Oh my God. Honestly, I was saying, watching the game, I was like, we haven't had a centre-back that was as big in frame as Badiashile since, like,
forever.
The days of Gary Cahill, maybe. Like, because even Rudiger wasn't that kind of size in frame. Like, it's unbelievable how big he is and how still agile and quick he moves in the grand scheme of things, like, for how big he is.
Yeah.
But my God, he's nearing the Lavia, Reece James, Fofana levels of injury prone at the moment. And yeah, it's like Reece and Lavia, obviously always a hamstring issue, or almost always a hamstring issue, which is really, really frustrating, isn't it?
Well, this is the problem when you are that size and when you have that natural agility. Sometimes, like, the muscles can't keep up with what the hamstrings can do, or vice versa. So, like, it's a strain on the body. I really wish we could somehow make him fit, at least to be able to play one game a week or maybe one game every 10 days. But yeah, because without him as well, we really don't have any good defenders. Because let's say Colwell is out for the season. So apart from that, then Tosin. But Tosin, I think, is a good middle of the park defender. He's not great. He's not terrible. But if Badiashile is also out of the picture, we actually have no central defender. Like, really, we have none. Because also Fofana is Fofana. We can't rely on him as well. So
there is Chalobah. Obviously, maybe you just don't count him as a good defender, I guess. But I think with Chalobah, it depends on his day. I think on his day, Chalobah is fucking amazing. On some other days, he has a few issues. Obviously, in terms of the injuries with Badiashile now, obviously after international break, Fofana will be back and Chalobah will be back. So those two are probably going to be the two that start in our next game after the international break, because the other guy that was also playing his absolute socks off, Josh Acheampong, also got injured. I mean, again, maybe not like quite as crazy standout as Badiashile, but he was
he was great. He was great. Like,
that, the way he runs with the ball is so impressive, man. Like, he's so quick and strong, and he almost reminds me, when he runs with the ball, he almost reminds me a little bit of of Loftus-Cheek sometimes. Like it's crazy how he strides, and like obviously Ruben was like more agile and stuff, but
I would say more like Rudiger when he used to make those runs with the ball.
Rudiger had the crazy walk, and I didn't trust him to like, if a defender came at him, I didn't trust Rudiger to like run around him. Rudiger was just going to boot it. But Acheampong, I imagine him doing a Ronaldo chop around someone and keep and running. Do you know what I mean? I imagine that he can do that. Reminds you of Fofana. Nah, technical ability is not comparable in my opinion. Like, physically, I can see what you're saying, but I think technically Acheampong is far, far, far superior to Fofana. Maybe as a defender, Fofana is better, but I think control, passing, Acheampong is a different level, in my opinion. But I mean, obviously we've got Chalobah and Fofana back, but it's still a calamity, isn't it, man? Like the fact that we finished today's game with Hato, who was supposed to be Cucurella's backup at left back, and Reece James at centre back, is a big problem. Like I know one was suspended, the other one is back after concussion protocol, but it's still every week it becomes more evident how bad of a decision it was not to replace Levi Colwill in the summer, doesn't it?
I mean, also, let's say even if Colwill was fit, right now we were still going to have a conversation about what a fucking crisis this is. So, like, even if Colwill magically appears tomorrow fit, we're still in crisis because, like, we had literally 4 center backs unavailable at the end of this game. 4.
Yeah,
it's not looking great. I mean, really. Even if you say, okay, one's a concussion protocol, the other is a red card, like it's not great. Not great. And we have to rely on 19 and 18-year-olds with less than 5 minutes in the Premier League.
Not, like, you're not talking about winger. You know, it's one thing relying on 18-year-olds at winger, but it's a whole other thing relying on them on centre back. This comment by Ricky came from a little bit earlier. I highlighted it because I was slightly blown away by it, if I'm honest. Was Trev being suspended a blessing in disguise? Thoughts? Well, no, because Acheampong and Badiashile got injured. So I would very much say it was not a blessing in disguise, because if Chalobah was available, I mean, I'm not sure, he almost certainly probably would have played instead of Acheampong and not Badiashile, so it probably wouldn't have saved Badiashile, if we're being honest. But maybe though, you know, maybe it would have saved us at least one injury, so we would still be looking better. Now, whether we can say, would we have still won? Would we have not won had Chalobah played? Had the injuries not happened? Who knows, right? It's pure speculation, but there you go. Reece needs to take Badiashile to his hamstring doctor to cure him. Yeah, literally. Go to the guy in Finland, have the surgery, and get it done with, because this is becoming a bit of a joke. 6 defenders out is insane, not going to lie. Thank God international break is here. It is true. Having 6 defenders out at the same time, whether we can be critical of the sport directors, you can't account for 6 defenders being unavailable. You can't account for that. No squad can account for that.
You could by not relying on injury-prone players, but let's say that's another story.
Oh, that is a fair point. But, you know, Colwill isn't injury-prone. He's now injured. But obviously,
he kind of is. I mean, he kind of is. Also, not to the extent of Badiashile or Reece James, but Colwill also, he spent almost one full season on the sidelines. So it's not like he's had the perfect injury record up until now, and this is his first major injury. I mean,
who? Colwill,
yeah. Wasn't he injured for half the season under Poch?
True, he had this weird toe injury, didn't he? Whatever it was,
yeah.
No one really know what it was, and he wasn't playing for ages. It's true. Well, Varna, no, not quite, because Fofana is back. And like Joel said, he's not to blame for being concussed if the goalkeeper jumps into him. So you can't have a go at him for that one. Like, usually I'm like, fair enough, it's annoying that he's injury prone, but for this one, we can't have
it.
But I will just say, Tosin may also be back. Like, we've never had an injury update in terms of how long Tosin is meant to be out for with his calf injury, but there's also a chance that going into the game after the international break, not only do we have Chalobah and Fofana back, we may also have Tosin back. I'm just not sure. And obviously with Acheampong, we need to see what the actual issue is and stuff. You know, he's 19. 19-year-olds often recover from small things much quicker than older players do.
Do we know,
you know, our whole squad is young, and we don't really see the benefit of that very often, do we?
Did you get what exactly Acheampong's problem was? Because I didn't get that.
No. The way he was sitting on the floor looked like probably a hamstring issue, but You never know. It's usually a hamstring issue, isn't it? So that's my guess. But again, I don't know. I'm still kind of waiting for like some comments from Maresca or some of the players or whatever. But unfortunately, we haven't got anything just yet. I mean, yeah, it's true. Shasaib, Thiago Silva was 50. Well, he was just over 40. He was still. It would be the fittest defender in his team. He would be, but also he wouldn't play every 3 days, and he would save himself some running when he had to. But obviously, Thiago Silva is a specimen of a man, number one, and maybe the best professional footballer's ever seen in terms of taking care of his body. Maybe after Ronaldo, but maybe Ronaldo takes it a point too far. There you go. Why couldn't we get a performance like this versus Bayern? Well, I wish that too, and Dimitar does too, because we were both at the game. So yeah, it would have been nice. But hey, here we are. At the end of the day, man, I'm incredibly happy about today. If we're looking at the table as well, unfortunately, it still only leaves us in 6th, which is kind of sad. And also behind Palace, even though Palace have played a game less, which again, mental. Also, we have conceded 9 goals and Palace have conceded 3. Also mental. But if we didn't win today, we would still be behind Manchester United. And, as much as obviously we gifted them some of their 3 points, being behind Manchester United is an absolute no-go. The only thing I'm slightly concerned about is Liverpool obviously losing 3 games in a row now, 2 of them in the Premier League, is Arsenal running away with the league here. So let's please not allow that to happen. But yeah, very, very important that we got the dub. Had we got a 1-1, had it stayed at that, we would have remained 9th. And had we lost, well, actually, we would have also remained 9th. But maybe only for now, because obviously there would have been a couple of teams behind us that could have overtaken us by that point. So huge win. Almost crazy that beating Liverpool was so important to keeping a positive situation in the season going. Like it was really, truly crucial in every sense of the word, wasn't it? I mean, I still can't believe that Bournemouth and Palace and even Sunderland up there, obviously Sunderland today against United, but my God. I mean, Tottenham being there is a bit strange. Why are they there? Go away. But yeah, honestly, just to quickly touch on Liverpool as well, maybe for a second, I was really surprised by how bad they were. And I know beginning of the second half, they fixed up a little bit, but the amount of misplaced passes they did in the first half, in the second half, whether it was Robertson, whether it was Wirtz, whether it was, all sorts of players. Honestly, I don't remember us playing this bad of Liverpool since before Klopp. Honestly, I don't remember. Like, maybe it sounds harsh now, but since Klopp, they were always better than they were today.
Well, you could say that, but also I think what we should remember is they basically changed 5 or 6 starting 11 players. And also their season basically ended in the first week of May. So they're still probably not up to speed with their training and their physical condition and stuff like that, because I would imagine they would have had a nice long summer vacation, and I would imagine that their physios and conditioning staff, they would make them so that they peak in their form in the second half of the season, because this is what you normally want to do.
7 games in now. We're nearing being a third into the season.
But you also to remember, for all of those seasons that City just won the league in the second half of the season, they were terrible until Christmas, and then something happens in January and February, and they just win 19 games on the bounce. I mean,
not like this for me. Not like just simple errors. Like, obviously sometimes you have injuries, you have just things not going your way. But all season, they were scraping some wins, getting a lot of late minute winners. And like I say, it was just the amount of times they passed the ball off the pitch today was wild to me.
Oh, yeah, you are right.
I've never seen that other than Robert Sanchez passing the ball off the pitch so much. What are you doing?
I mean,
to be fair, Karan also makes a fair point. Let's not undermine our performance, but then Liverpool were bad today. Our press was really good, pressed them well in the midfield, and almost always had 2 players on every forward. This is valid. But I think some of these misplaced passes I'm talking about were even with barely any pressure. But still. But I'm not trying to undermine our own performance. But our pressing was very good. It was very good. Honestly, I'm not really sure what else I can even be buzzing about. Funny that Gusto got an assist. He gets a lot of stick, doesn't he? But I don't know, man. Where do you stand on someone like Gusto? I touched on it earlier. He brings so much from a physical point of view because he is so quick and he is so strong in terms of keeping running all game long that he can like provide options in so many areas of the pitch. But because his body allows him to do that, it's almost all the more frustrating that when he is the guy that gets the ball, he just does so little with it often.
I would say he definitely has shown me he should not be anywhere near the defensive side of the game. And he has also shown me that he has that special thing in the when he's attacking. Sometimes he can produce extreme moments of quality. And I don't know what that means in terms of where could he play for us. Maybe I would actually see him in a Conte 2017 type of side playing on the place of Victor Moses. Because Moses was terrible defensively. Yeah, but Moses was terrible defensively, but every time he used to run forward with the ball, double teaming with the right winger, he was a menace. And this is exactly what Gusto is doing. Every time he has the support from the right winger or from Palmer or from both, he just wreaks havoc on that right-hand side. And enemy defenders, they can't deal with him. Like, so often he gets into those perfect positions. Not every time he does something, but I think positionally wise and like game intelligence in the attacking third, he has that for sure. But in the defensive side, oh boy, I don't want him defending anything.
Yeah. The last thing maybe to touch on just quickly, and I'm again going to look if there's any quotes out now. I couldn't honestly believe that we got to see Mark Yu today. But it makes me like, in a way, because we've not used him for so many games now, I almost find it more ridiculous to all of a sudden use him now. I would have understood it more if you were like, okay, we're actually going to not play him so we can loan him out in January again and only use him in case of super bad emergency of João Pedro and or George also getting injured and only having him just in case until January. But to now all of a sudden use him, I'm like, so why didn't you use him all these other games then? Like, it baffles me a little bit. Not that he could have maybe even got a goal. Like, he was put through on goal once, but he was just about slightly overhit, or his first touch wasn't just about good enough. But it was good to see him again, sprinting after goalkeepers. I do enjoy how he chases everything.
Yeah, and he basically looked like he spent the last 3 months on a remote island somewhere in the Pacific. He literally looked like Tom Hanks in that Robinson Crusoe movie. Like, it was what? Who the hell is this guy? Because if you look at his picture here, he's such a baby face, and then all of a sudden, what we saw today was definitely not that guy.
Yeah, no, it was definitely not that guy. Oh, this is kind of funny. So because Maresca got sent off, he can't do the press conference. So he is probably buzzing that he doesn't have to do media duties now. But I tell you who is not buzzing, bloody Willy Caballero, who now has to do it instead. So Caballero press conference as Maresca cannot attend due to the red card. Liverpool won a few games in extra time this season. This time it's for us. And yes, it is. Now, honestly, we're not going to get that many crazy pieces of information from Willy Caballero, if we're being totally honest. Like, what is he going to say? That is that insightful. So a bit of a shame. I wonder if he's still going to be able to look at this picture. Oh, don't you love this? Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I mean, worth the red card, worth the sending off from Maresca. Absolutely worth it. Like, I mean, who is even our next game? I need to look this up. Do you know?
Nottingham Forest, I believe.
Oh, yeah. Nottingham Forest early kickoff on Saturday. Yeah. Maresca, it's time to get the laundry bin out. It's time to do a Jose, because you already did a Jose today, running across the length of the pitch to celebrate with the team, like Jose did against PSG, when Demba Ba scored that winner. Like, obviously he did at United with Porto and with us once. What a moment. What a moment. I'm buzzing. Huge win. Do you think, you've noticed it as well in our chat, there's just some people in the fan base, and obviously it's character and personality dependent. Some people are just a bit, I don't know, more rash in being critical, I guess, and some people are less so. But you could see it. Like, as soon as the form drops a little bit, the Maresca criticizers, the Maresca critics, I should call them, doubters, they came out in full flow again. Do you think a win like this today is enough to like calm those people down and also give him a little bit of leeway and, credit in the bank for when we have another kind of bad spell? Or do you think a game like this isn't enough?
Well, one game does not signal ending a bad spell, because like if we end up losing the next game or not winning the next game, it's still the same thing. So I would say what would help him again is us just playing a bit better. Like today was a good starting point if we can work a bit on the gameplay.
But
For
do you
the
think for
next
those
2
types of fans, playing better is what matters?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, I think for not for all of them, but for the majority of fans, yeah, because like this is what I also think for the most part. Sometimes you will lose games when you play good, but if you keep winning and you're not playing good, and then all of a sudden you lose 3 games on the bounce, then it has all accumulated. Because like even if your team wins, sometimes you can get frustrated from the missing chances, like conceding stupid goals. This happens, and I can say that thus far this season we have not played well. Like I would say maybe apart from the West Ham game, which was against a terrible West Ham team, we have not looked good. And so you could kind of understand it. Like I'm not saying the manager should get sacked because it's most of the things happening are not his fault, but still, like I get when people are frustrated. But also these are the same people that if we win 5 on the bounce, will say, "Oh, we're winning the league." So sometimes it's just people are overly emotional and people just like they get too fixated on specific results in the moment as well. And we should not do that most of the times, but I guess it's normal. Football is a passionate sport, I guess.
That is unfortunately often how it goes, isn't it? Just to bring this up quickly, let me quickly bring up a different screen so we can actually still see our faces while I show you this. Lewis always has too many things saved, mate. Why do you always have too many things saved? We don't need Kepa with short arms anymore. So does it let me do it now? Yes, there you go. So Erling Haaland posted in his story as our goal happened and called Estevao a wonder kid. So, confirmed by the wonder kid himself, because what bloody Haaland is doing. My guy's scoring like 1,000 goals and it is the worst start to a season he's ever had. How's that happening? That's why he scores every game. It's unbelievable. But yeah, I'll take it, Haaland. So cheers, mate. Please don't make Pep sign him, for the love of God. Please don't make Pep sign him. Or you come here. We could quite do with the Erling Haaland, that'd be quite nice. If he's down, Erling, you know what I mean? Cole Palmer. I'm sure Erling Haaland and Cole Palmer would get on very, very well. So I think, could be a friendship there. Chelsea make it happen. Haaland is still young as well. He's not old yet. So, get a move on, guys. Get a move on. Have we got any more quotes, or has Willy Caballero kept his words very short and simple? I think so.
Yeah,
so. Here we are.
I just wish some journalists would ask the important questions like any news on the injuries or when will certain players be back?
Yeah, but at the same time, he's not going to have information on injuries straight after the game, like where from, John?
Yeah, but at least they could ask him, okay, so you got 2 fresh injuries. Do you expect any players to be fit for the next Premier League games? Maybe Tosin. Like, I don't know, because like I said, we have no information on him anyway. So maybe at least something, I don't know. And especially it is relevant now because we don't have any center backs. So I would definitely like to see a question about Tosin now.
Yeah, as would I. I mean, Max says he tinkers too much. Watch next game, completely different setup. Well, probably because Nottingham Forest requires a very different setup to play against than Liverpool does. So I would bloody hope that he have a different setup against Nottingham Forest than we do against Liverpool. I can't lie.
Yeah.
And also the tinkering again. Our group chat was already having a go at Maresca just from the lineup today. And we're like, oh, this is terrible. Now he wins. And we're still like, oh, he tinkers too much. Well, the tinkering is what got us the dub today. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you guys very, very much for watching. If you haven't done so yet, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button on your way out. That would be massively appreciated. Check us both out on Twitter. You can see my @ on screen down in the description. Dimitar's link is down in the description below. Of course, check out mine and Pice's podcast, CFC Unfiltered, Chelsea Unfiltered. On Twitter, it's CFC Unfiltered. Check that out. New episode will be out tomorrow. Obviously, talking about today's game. So make sure you tune in for that. We'll have sometimes bi-weekly, sometimes weekly, just mostly match reactions plus the latest news that you need to know about. So check it out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I'd massively appreciate that. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate you all very much. Up the Chelsea, upwards and onwards, and I will, see you next time. Bye-bye, guys. Let's go. Come on, Chelsea. I'm fucking buzzing today. I can't believe it.